community of Music City. It's so good to see all of you in the congregation, and we welcome you at home. And we are special welcome today to Vic Sorrel, who is with us today to our wonderful lesson. So let's get started. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will live it, I will give it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, live it, give it every day. Talk talks, walk talks, walk talks louder than talk talks. Talk talks, walk talks, walk talks louder than talk talks. I will walk it, I will talk it, I will be love every day. I will live it, I will give it, all along the way. If we want the world to see the love that lives in you and me, we gotta walk it, talk it, live it, give it every day. We gotta walk it, talk it, live it, give it every day.
Good morning. Good morning. A few announcements this morning. First, I want to start off by saying the baby trees have been adopted.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for those of you who decided that you might need a baby in your yard. We love that and are grateful for your service on that. The prayer chaplains are available for your prayers. If you have a prayer concern that you would like the chaplains to be made aware of, you can email that prayer request to UOFMCPRAYER request@gmail.com. Leadership Council meeting, April the 25th at 3:30. Put that on your calendar if you're part of the leadership program. Please check with your emails for Zoom information on going out this coming week. So be looking for that. Always check your emails. You know, that's where all of our information comes from. Lately, anyway. Sale of the church property to our members. Any items that you would like to purchase, please make an offer, donation by April the 25th. Okay, you got till April 25th to come and nose around and take all the things home and pay a little bit for it, maybe. All the stuff that you don't really need but kind of want. And so there's plenty of things still back there. If you want some memorabilia to take home with you, please feel free to do that by April the 25th, okay? The rest will be sold to the public. Join the Lunch Bunch Book Club via Zoom every Wednesday morning at 11:30. We are reading This Moment is Your Miracle. Spiritual Tools to Transcend Fear and Experience the Power of the Present Moment by David Hoffmeister. Text Karen Burr at 931-581-6116 or see the weekly Happenings newsletter. Email for more information. All right, let's sing again.
Reach out and spread a little love around.
Reach out, spread a little love around. Reach out, spread a little love around. If you want to make a difference in this world, there's just one thing spread a little peace and joy. Oh yeah. Reach out, sing a little harmony. Reach out, sing a little harmony. If you want to make a difference in this world, there's just one thing to do. You gotta reach out and sing a little harmony. Oh yeah. You gotta reach out and spread a little peace and joy. Oh yeah. You gotta reach out, spread a little love around. Oh yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today's sacred reading, today's sacred word, let go, let God. And the affirmation is, I let go and let divine life fulfill itself in and through me. Let's say it together. I let go and let divine life fulfill itself in and through me. The phrase let go and let God is more than an effective affirmation. It's a way of life. When problems or challenges arise, I make a conscious decision to see myself in unity with divine life, to let go of my attachment to a problem and yield to a spiritual solution. This is when I am truly letting go and letting God. God lives in me and flows freely through me. God in me is my path to freedom, abundance, peace, and harmony. If I become mired in fear, doubt, and frustration, I block the flow of God life. Letting go opens me to the power of inspiration, insight, wisdom, and love. I let go and let God manifest in my life as new adventure, unexpected pleasures, and unlimited potential. I live in unity with God. And today's scripture is Jeremiah 42:3. Let the Lord your God show us where we should go and what we should do. Thank you.
And just as the world would have us believe that it's time to speed up again, we remember how to slow down, how to stay centered, how to let go and let God, such that we yield to the God life that we are. So in this sacred time of silence, we simply allow our minds to rest. And in that allowance, we find rest. And our breath begins to happen easily. We relax into the knowingness of our chosen truth, the love we are. And just as we release the anchors that might otherwise tie us in consciousness to anything other than this truth, all that remains is then to simply relax, release, and set sail on the winds of love, through the winds of change. For we are supported, we are guided, we are seen and known, we are remembered and held. So for a few moments together in the holy silence, we remember ourselves and our truth in love, such that we might release the shores of our fears and simply delight in the journey that is sailing in love, with love, and for love. In the silence, we simply sail as love. Through the winds of change, we are always supported. We are always guided. We are always seen. We are always known. We are always remembered and held. And so we remember ourselves and our truth as love, for love, with love. We simply sail. And so it is.
There is just one presence and just one power in all the world. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power. God is with us each and every hour. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power in all the world. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power. God is with us each and every hour. There is just one presence and just one power in my life. There is just one presence and just one power in my life.
Beautiful. Thank you. Ryan Gill and the Harmony 3. Yes, indeed. Beautiful music. Beautiful people. Always good to see you. And good morning to everyone. It's good to see many of you in the room this morning. Thank you for joining us via webcast. We start out today with the realization that real enlightenment is when it doesn't matter how things are manifesting, you are simply happy no matter what. And that's exactly why I'm here. To continue my unlearning and continue my learning. Because I'm not there yet. I don't know about you all. But it's exactly why I've stayed in New Thought for over 20 years, because these teachings have afforded me an aim, such that in consciousness, I have a focus instead of simply being available to any possible notion of experience that might come my way. I have an aim, and that is to actually walk out the reality on a daily basis that only love is real, and nothing unreal exists. And furthermore, nothing real can even be threatened. Real with a capital R. Because the only reality is love, and love is energy that can neither be created nor destroyed. So what does it mean when we actually let that be true? At our essence, we are love, we are energy that can neither be created nor destroyed. Did anybody learn that when they were 3, 4, or 5 years old? How might your life look differently today had you learned that when you were 3, 4, 5? And the beautiful thing is, we can start right now. Maybe we have been living that truth for the last however many years, regardless of whether we learned it when we were babies or not. What we find is that the tendency is there has to be this willingness, this continual willingness to let go of the shore. Again and again and again. We come to a new realization, a new place in our life. We maybe anchor to that shore. We live in that space, and inevitably we come to a place where we know we become so uncomfortable in the confinement of that condition, of that experience, that we know it's time to let go of that shore. And sometimes it's true that in our lives there truly is no other way forward than letting go. We simply circle until we're ready to let go of certain forms, and then we can move forward. And letting go is many things. It's scary, but it's about relief. It's about renewal. It's about refresh. And I've spoken here before about my work as a life coach, and at the beginning of this year, one of my clients that I've been working with for some time said, Vic, what I've realized is in 2021, there is no other way forward for me than to simply release this shame that I have carried with me for over 40 years of my life. Because I've reached a place where I can now see that I cannot see because of the shame. If I hold the shame, if I entertain the shame and the guilt, then I can't achieve a level of consciousness that will enable me to see the possibilities for my life, that will enable me to see why I'm truly here and what my path forward should be. And so I got to thinking, if we want to experience the days of our lives in a way other than how we've been experiencing them, we must first be able to allow that way, the way to see, the way to change. Ooh, baby, I love your way every day. Remember that song? And a lot of people think Peter Frampton right off the bat. But for me, because of when I grew up, it meant Will to Power. Do you all remember that 80s smash hit, which was actually a medley? It was the Freebird Leonard Skinner song, and it was "Ooh Baby, I Love Your Way" in a medley that was sung by a duo called Will to Power. Well, there's a point here. This was special to me because I loved that song. Number one, I'm a 7-year-old little gay boy in southwestern Virginia, and I'm watching this music video of this gorgeous blonde girl on this dock in Fort Lauderdale singing, "Shadows grow so long before my eyes." And she's, the wind is blowing in her hair, and she's got this fur coat on, and she's just all this glamour, right? Well, it just so happens that that young lady at the time, her name is Susie Carr, and she is from a neighboring town to where I grew up. And so when I was about 7 years old and that single was a hit on the pop charts, I actually got to meet her because she came to visit her mother at Christmas one year, and some friends of some friends knew, of course, that I loved to sing, and I was I was already singing the song in my house every day. So they took me over to meet Susie Carr. And of course, it was one of the highlights of my childhood. Starstruck is an understatement. And so we went in the house, and she was just lovely, so kind. But what I remember her talking about came back for me when I was writing this talk. And that was, well, she was talking to the adults, and, I was a pretty precocious kid, so I was totally in the conversation, even though I wasn't really in the conversation. But I remember it all like it was yesterday, and she was talking about how they had released this song in different ways before they realized that their inspiration to release it as a medley was the way. So they had to be open to letting go of their doubt that we can't release these two cover tunes in a medley to pop radio and have a hit. That's not going to work. But they did it the way they thought they had to. They released them individually, nothing. They released them together, and they have a smash hit. It stayed number one for many weeks in the 80s, and I remember her saying, sometimes we just have to be open to another way. Another way. And so, remembering that, I realized in writing this talk that sometimes we have to be willing to let go of the way that we've always known in order to create a new way, lest we labor in vain and continue to circle in our lives around the same circumstances, having the same experiences. So letting go of the shore, so to speak, is one way to do that. But when we say letting go of the shore, what we're really talking about is simply letting go of a particular form. A form that energy has taken in our life. And we live in our lives very tied to form. Think about it. Our homes, we're very focused on cars, jobs, the money we make, the relationships. Is it time to define the relationship? Yeah, the relationship is we're here until love says we don't need to be here anymore. What? Wait, what? What does that mean? Yeah, but are you with me? Yes, I'm with you. It's new. Form. If we're not careful, we get very, very attached to form. But the truth is, forms are illusions because the forms themselves are not love, although the forms can be aligned with love or fear. Think about the motivations within ourselves for certain forms to be present. Sometimes the forms of our lives are not aligned with our experience of love. So what's that mean? Well, it means they're aligned with an absence of love. And that absence of love in the form of our fear and our clinging and our attachment keeps us seeing ourselves in such a way that makes us make choices in such a way that we hold on to the shore. Fear of starting over, fear of being without, fear of appearing foolish. Boy, that's a big one. fear of being wrong. Don't even get me on that. For the sake of the camera and the time, I have been wrong. Right? Don't you feel like sometimes it's good to just say that? I've been wrong. I've been wrong. I have made decisions that were wrong, and it's okay. What is it that enables us to be okay with being wrong? Clarity about our nature. My nature is love. And I've chosen outside of love at times, and that can sometimes be harmful. But I can look at that, I can embrace that, I can learn from that, and I can offer my apologies and also my sense of wanting to make repair. Because I'm clear that the wrong decisions I've made, that's not who I am at my core. It makes a huge difference. And often in unity, we speak about the truth that we live in a cause and effect universe is sometimes distorted because we can't see cause where it's really effect, and effect where it's really cause. Now, hold on a minute. Stay with me. The example is, I'm not happy because this certain relationship is troubling me. It could appear that the relationship is the cause of the unhappiness, if we're not really careful. But because we have the gift of the power of focus, and I submit to you that our ability to focus is the greatest ability we have as human beings. Through focused, constructive thought, we can achieve happiness no matter the circumstance. So even though it may seem we're troubled because of the state of a relationship, through constructive, conscious focus of thought, we can actually arrive at a place where we see the relationship differently. Where the relationship isn't what it was when it was troubling us. And yet nothing has changed except the way that we perceive it. From this perspective, then, it's quite clear that the thinking is the cause and the experience of the relationship is the effect. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. And so if we want to experience anything in a way that we haven't experienced it before, we have to provide the way to see it differently, the way to be about it differently. I thought it might be interesting to look at the way we consider an old hymn. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. This hymn was written by Helen Howarth Lemmel. And interestingly enough, when I looked a little closer, I promise this is the truth. This sounds like, yeah, you're making this up, but I promise you. The song dropped into my awareness when I was writing this talk. Then I went and researched the history of the hymn and the background of the writer. And I kid you not, this song was inspired by a writing entitled Focus by Lilias Trotter. And in this piece, among other things, she writes, "Will it not make life narrow, this focusing? In a sense, it will. Just as the mountain path grows narrower, for it matters more and more, the higher we go, where we set our feet. But there is always, as it narrows, a wider and wider outlook, and purer, cleaner air. Narrow as Christ's life was narrow, This is our aim. Aim. Narrow as regards self-seeking, broad as the love of God, to all around. And is there anything to fear in that? So that's what Helen Howarth Lemmel was reading when she was inspired to write, "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus." So that was some pretty expanded thinking, right? So just a little bit about Helen, because I think it's in and of itself, it's a beautiful story. She was born in England in 1863. She loved music, and her parents provided the best vocal teachers that they could find. And eventually she returned to Europe to study vocal music in Germany and married a wealthy European, but he left her when she became blind. And Helen struggled in multiple heartaches during midlife. At age 55, Helen heard a statement that deeply impressed her, and this was in the writing entitled Focus. "So then, turn your eyes upon him. Look full into his face, and you will see that the things of earth will acquire a strange, new dimness." Helen says, "I stood still, and singing in my soul and spirit was the chorus, with not one conscious moment of putting word to make rhyme, or note to make melody. Not one conscious moment. The verses were written the same week after the usual manner of composition, but nonetheless dictated by the Holy Spirit." So this was an interesting aspect of Helen's life. She advanced in years and was almost destitute, but was an amazing person. "She made a great impression on me," said a friend, "as a junior high child because of her joy and enthusiasm. Though she was living on government assistance in a sparse bedroom, whenever we'd ask her how she was doing, she would reply, 'I'm doing well in the things that count.' I'm doing well in the things that count." So perhaps in the past, if we knew this hymn, we considered it in more of a literal way, focusing on the actual face of Jesus and laying our burdens at his feet because he possessed a power that we did not. And as such, he was our Savior. That's sort of the way I came to know this song anyway. But when we let go, in order to provide a different way, a different truth can appear to serve us. And perhaps we might be better able to serve that new truth in the material world as we live out our days. So from the perspective of A Course in Miracles, we're taught that light is simply understanding. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. So when we consider light from A Course in Miracles perspective, it's about understanding and understanding Jesus, the way he thinks, the way he is, the way he sees himself. For us to understand that thinking and understand that we, too, have that option. Jesus is the example, not the exception. And love is always our option. And shining is always, therefore, a chosen effect of the cause of love. The things of earth grow strangely dim, meaning how strange the power of these forms seem to diminish when they are viewed simply for the truth that they are. The forms, the things of earth, illusions, temporary, fleeting. But as the result of shining the light of our understanding on them, the only reality is seen, the reality with a capital R, and that is love. The forms themselves diminish, they dim. And through the light of understanding, we see them for what they really are. How many times have you ever heard anyone say, you know what, I feel fantastic, I feel abundant, I feel grateful, and I just lost my job and I haven't found another one yet. But I feel so good. And it happens sometimes when people are so relieved, right? But typically, I'm worried. I'm worried. I had to let go of the shore. I didn't have a choice. And now I'm out here. And I don't know what's going to happen. And that's when you really meet yourself. That's when you really know what's going on for you. So we learn in A Course in Miracles that the entire thinking of the material world is based on us convincing ourselves we are who we're not, and that we aren't who we are. We are who we're not, and we aren't who we are. It becomes quite likely for the experience of miracles to be made welcome when we begin to see ourselves as miraculous. Miracles happen naturally as the result of our perception of ourselves as miraculous. But how often do we really hit the floor first thing in the morning and think, I'm a miracle? When the reality is, during the night, so many things happened in your body that were miraculous, that you never had to think about, that you truly are a miracle. Your body is refreshed, restored, renewed, and ready for that day, no matter whether you had a little or not when you popped up. You got up, right? You made it, because all those things happen miraculously. Our bodies are constantly reminding us of the miracles that we are. Our minds are constantly telling ourselves that it's something else as the result of our conditioning. But it doesn't have to be. But there can be this root level misperception of ourselves. And we as the perceivers therefore create a continuing misperception of life when we first misperceive ourselves. And this is really the big kahuna of New Thought right here. If you take this sentence out of this room and chew on it and live on it the rest of your life, you'll have all you need. So says Vic at 43. We'll see. But I'm open to that too. The root level misunderstanding of ourselves basically throws everything else out of alignment. And so, if we have an understanding of the truth of ourselves, if our perception is in alignment with the truth that we are, the love that we are, the miracles that we naturally are in form, then everything else in our lives, if we are tenacious enough to hold our focus on that truth, then everything else in our lives can line up accordingly. But just as we're willing to give up the truth of ourselves as miraculous, then we're willing to give up the miracles that occur naturally as the result of that realization of ourselves. Love cannot leave us. We are love. But we can leave love out of our thinking. And most specifically, out of our thinking about ourselves. But I often say this here because I believe it's everything. It's when we begin to embody a sense of ourselves as love that we begin to see what we haven't been able to see otherwise. When we are love, our vision changes. Our frequency changes. Our vibrational frequency, the energetic frequency at which we resonate, our human consciousness resonates, changes. And when that changes, we see differently. We see things we couldn't have seen otherwise. It's like my client said, I realize that I can't entertain the shame and my prosperity at the same time. They are mutually exclusive. I can't entertain this judgment and my experience of goodness and wealth and health and prosperity and radiance and shine and all the good things at the same time. It's a choice. And A Course in Miracles says sometimes we give up the vision of one world for the vision of the other. We give up the judgment for the experience of peace. We give up the self-condemnation and the guilt and the shame for the experience of the vision of how we might live out our highest contribution while we're in these bodies, in this life. So think about all the shores that we're anchored to today, even today, all the shores in your life that are the direct effects of the cause of seeing yourself as anything other than love. I'm talking about the shores of victimhood, the shores of doubt, of blame, of judgment. All of those shores, when we're anchored to those shores of fear, we can't touch the sufficient faith that would tell us the wind has always blown and will continue to blow and fill our sails and support our process. When we're anchored to the shore, we don't believe necessarily that we were born to sail. Michelangelo, the sculptor. This is a story that Marianne Williamson has told for years, and I love it. Michelangelo used to say, God has created the sculpture. My job is to go in and remove the excess marble such that the sculpture can appear. We, in truth, are love. And our work is to allow everything else to fall away, such that the love we are can be the experience we offer. Boom. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. It's one of my favorite quotes. And any one of us in hiding might be safe, but that's not what we're built for. We are built to be seen. We are built to be seen, and we are built to shine the light of our truth that the world so desperately needs. And just as the light of our understanding of who we truly are is turned on, then and only then do we see no other way forward. Namaste.
Thank you, Vic. There's plenty to chew on there for a week, that's for sure. Well, one of the ways that we can move forward is by giving of our prosperity, whether that's the prosperity that we receive from the physical world in money or things, or it's a prosperity that comes from the spiritual realm, which we see in the love that comes to and through our lives. So as we think about giving our tithes and donations and love offerings to our spiritual home, Unity of Music City, let's say the offertory blessing. I am open to receiving floods of financial abundance with ease so that I may be able to give back even more to the world around me. And let's all sing about it in Legacy of Love.
Who we are and what we believe is shown to the world by what we help achieve. This dream we share, this loving way to live, will stand forevermore because we choose to
of love, leaving a legacy of love, leaving a piece of our hearts for generations to see. We are leaving a legacy of love, leaving a piece of our hearts for generations to see. We are leaving a legacy of love.
Let's say the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. We are love, joy, and peace. Everything else we release. We are love, joy, and peace. This is our gift to the world. This is our gift to the world. This is our gift to the world. Love, joy, and peace. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.